I talked about it last week, but I want to expand on it today. There is absolutely no reason this central government should be collecting so much data on each and every one of us, whether it's our health care, whether it's our finances, whether it's our race, whether it's our gun ownership, because this information in the hands of a Barack Obama is dangerous. So I'll let everybody else talk about Trump and McCain. I'm going to talk about what matters. Now let's get back to our police state, because that's what's happening. Let's get back to our police state. So civil rights group, Obama already has this massive database that he produced without any affirmative consent from the United States Congress, without any affirmative statutory basis. Secretly, they've been building this over the years. And now they have it. And they have information on you, and I'm sure the Red Chinese will get it too, because apparently they know how to hack and we don't know how to stop them. They have your health care information, ladies and gentlemen. They have your income information, ladies and gentlemen. They have information about your personal life, how many kids you have. Maybe you don't have any, whether you've been divorced or not. They know where you live. They're mapping it all out. They know what business you're in or where you work. They know what your mortgage is. Your federal government. And they're mapping it out based on race. If this isn't fascistic, I don't know what is. If this isn't police state, I don't know what is. And then they're going to tell every little planning commission, every board of commissioners, every local mayor, board of supervisors, you damn well better change your zoning. In essence, as I keep saying, Obama's nationalized our police departments. He's now nationalized your local governments. They've already nationalized local school systems. So civil rights groups will have access to this HUD sophisticated mapping software. They're going to participate in city plans to re-engineer neighborhoods under new community outreach requirements. Quote, by opening this data to everybody, everyone in a community can weigh in, Obama said. This is where he's going to unleash his leftist community activists. Because remember, Obama is not a community organizer. He is a community disorganizer. If you want affordable housing nearby, you'll have the data you need to make your case, Obama said. Meanwhile, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, headed by former Congressional Black Caucus leader Mel Watt, is building its own database for racially balancing home loans. The so-called National Mortgage Database Project will compile 16 years of lending data broken down by race and hold everything from individual credit scores and employment records. Yours, and yours. Mortgage contracts won't be the only financial records vacuumed up by the database. According to federal documents, the repository will include all lines of credit, from credit cards to student loans to car loans. Anything reported to credit bureaus. Your federal government has a database on you that you're not going to believe. This is even more information than the IRS collects. The FHFA will also pry into your personal assets and debts and whether you have any bankruptcies. The agency even wants to know the square footage and lot size of your home, as well as your interest rate. This federal agency will share the information with Obama's brainchild, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. By the way, this was a creation under Dodd-Frank, and it is the most anti-democratic bureau probably on the face of the earth. And it acts like a civil rights agency, aggressively investigating lenders for racial bias. Now keep in mind, if they don't have racial bias, it doesn't matter. It's now a statistics game. The FHFA has offered no clear explanation as to why the government wants to sweep up so much sensitive information on Americans, other than stating it's for research and policy making. But the director, Richard Cordray, of this CFBB, was more forthcoming. He explained in a recent talk to the radical California-based Green Lining Institute, quote, we will be better able to identify possible discriminatory lending patterns. I am telling you that Marxism is on the move. I have called this man a Marxist, even when others mocked me, told me not to do it, maybe a socialist. No, he is a Marxist. He's an Alinskyite. Alinsky wasn't a socialist, he was a Marxist. But he's even more than a Marxist. He's a racialist. This is all based on income, and it's also all based on race. CFPB is separately amassing another database to monitor ordinary citizens' credit card transactions. It hopes to vacuum up some 900 million credit card accounts, all sorted by race, representing roughly 85% of the U.S. credit card market. Why? To sniff out disparities in interest rates, charge-offs, and collections. Police state, police state, police state. CFBP also just finalized a rule requiring all regulated banks to report data on minority hiring to an Office of Minority and Women Inclusion. It will collect reams of employment data broken down by race to police diversity on Wall Street as part of yet another fishing expedition. This is a war on liberty. It is a war on capitalism. It is a war on federalism, and apparently a war on white people. Well, what else is it? What else is it? It's a war on the middle class. The so-called middle class. It's a war on the middle class. Marx said you'd have to destroy the middle class. Alinsky said you have to pretend to be in support of the middle class, then become part of it and destroy it from within. You still want to talk about McCain and Trump? I mean, come on. Should this not be a half-hour lead story on Fox? Should this not be a half-hour lead story on every radio talk show in America? On every conservative site in America? Well, they're going to have more data. Through its mandatory civil rights data collection project, the Education Department is gathering information on student suspensions and expulsions by race from every public school district in the country. Districts that show disparities in discipline will be targeted for reform. Those that don't comply will be punished. Several already have been forced to revise their discipline policies, which has led to violent disruptions in classrooms. Obama's educrats want to know how many blacks versus whites are enrolled in gifted and talented and advanced placement classes. Schools that show blacks and Latinos under-enrolled in such curricula to an unidentified statistically significant degree could open themselves up to investigation and lawsuits by the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Count on a flood of private lawsuits to piggyback federal discrimination claims as civil rights lawyers use the new federal discipline data in their legal strategies against supposedly racist school systems. You see, Obama doesn't have to stay in office, ladies and gentlemen. He's enshrining an infrastructure that will continue to destroy after he's long gone. This is why he's smiling, he's happy, he's got an extra lift in his foot when he's walking around. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows the Republicans are useless. They're pathetic. Even if no one has complained about discrimination in schools, even if there's no other evidence of racism, the numbers themselves will prove that things are unfair. Such databases have never before existed. Let me repeat that. Such databases have never before existed. Obama is presiding over the largest consolidation of personal data in American history. He's creating a diversity police state where government, race cops, and civil rights lawyers will micromanage demographic outcomes in virtually every aspect of society. The first black president, quite brilliantly, has built a quasi-reparations infrastructure perpetually fed by racial data that will outlast his administration. Paul Sperry, Hoover Institution. The first black president, quite brilliantly, has built a quasi-reparations infrastructure perpetually fed by racial data that will outlast his administration. The most extreme, the most radical, the most diabolical president in American history. I told you we do not live in a constitutional republic anymore. I told you we do not live in a federal republic anymore. We do not live in a representative republic anymore. I called it a meritopia, and I was serious.